maybe, as you can see, Blushing Blossoms is the title of this collection from our friends at Hunkydory. And let me show you one of the cards that Heidi has made. Just beautiful. We're going to have more to share with you, so please come play with us. Well, before we get into the projects, let me show you what the product looks like. And we always begin with the topper collection. So this is, as I said, Blushing Blossoms, and you're going to get 2 each of these. So we have 4 sheets of foil die-cut toppers, and that's one. There's another, and another. And they have, as you can see, borders as well as greetings. Many times there will be 3 images or 2 images in one area. And here is more. And then there are an equal number of paper. This is adorable scoreable that is printed. And these will match each of those sheets, as you can see. And then, so that's 4. And then you have 4 that are foiled. Look at that. So they've got an accent of foiling on them, and that works. So you're going to get 2 each of all of those. And then to coordinate with it, we have the Blushing Blossoms Miri. Now the Miri has 16 sheets. There are 4 colors. They're all in the pink variety, so I'm not sure how different they will look to you. So there's very light and kind of a medium. Then we have a very bright and a pretty bright. So I know this is just crazy with the lights, isn't it? But you get the idea. And then there's also the 8x8 pattern cardstock. Now there are, as I said, it's 8x8. There are 48 sheets, 12 designs, 4 of each. So let me show you some of those. And so that's one side. There is the other side. That's a very light floral. And this. So again, there's going to be some very light colors, which is really hard for the camera to pick up, but I'm sure you're seeing that one. They're just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I think Hunkydory just does a great job on their foiling and on the die cuts as well as the printing. So all of that. And if you're counting, I'm missing a couple, but I will show them to you in the projects, okay? So just want to get you to see all of that. And there we go. Okay, now we'll get into our cards. Okay, I'm going to bring this card back for a closer look. And as you can see, this is a Slimline card. And this is using Hunkydory's package of the Slimline. And they are a little bit wider than those that we make here. But these are also tint, which means that they are going to have the fold at the top. So you can see kind of the tent idea. So Heidi's done this in several layers, and I'm not sure, I'll talk about this area because that's vellum, so it's becoming very light on your screen. So her first step was to take the cardstock, or well, actually the pattern, and this is the sheet that she used. Now she used obviously this part on the front, but she also used this part, and it is right here. So that was cut, there you go, that was trimmed down, and it was then matted onto this piece of the Miri, so you can see how that looks. But before that matting happened, she did some gold foiling, so let me show you that process. Now I'm going to do that on a piece of white cardstock, just so that you can really see it. I do want to bring in my craft mat and my glue stick as well as my foil. So it's so simple. And my card, cute Paulette, where's the card? Okay, well I guess, oh, here it is. Okay, here is a card. So it's the same process no matter what material you're using. So glue stick, good old glue stick, and you're just going to, in this case, let me just show you the finished project. Heidi did the foiling on the edges, of course, because that's the only part you're going to see, and down here and then kind of up here, so on opposite corners pretty much. So I'll mimic that. So down here and up here. So simply put the glue stick on, take your foil. Now I've already trimmed off a piece, but you get, I think it's like 10 feet. and it's just going to go a long, long way. Now notice I'm burnishing it down with my finger, and then I'm going to lift. I guess I'll burnish down. Now it's very, very warm in here. It's probably over 85 degrees, and I don't know if that's going to have anything to do with the foiling, but it just might. Now, if you find something like this where, gee, maybe I wanted more, you can go back over it, and that's perfectly fine. And you don't want to use the same area that you did the first time because you've already lifted the foiling off. There we go, and we'll do this. Okay, so got some more that time. Now normally you're going to get a lot more, so I think that our hot temperature here in Oregon is affecting my demonstration, which is just not very nice of it. Okay, because I've done this, you know, like lots and lots. Okay, the glue's just lifting off. Oh, there's some of the foiling. Okay, so if you want a spattered look, do it when it's hot, and you can do it in any temperature really, but that's exactly what you're going to get. So I like to use a craft mat because it's not going to hurt your table, and that's always a good thing. And set that aside. So going back now again, so when you cut your piece to be matted on the Mary, you want to make sure that you're not cutting into your flower. Now you do get 4 sheets of everything, but it's just, you know, you don't want to waste it. So do it on this side, do the foiling, then mat it onto the Mary and glue that or tape it to your card, just like so. Now this piece, she also did some foiling. So down here again, just at the corner, and then right here, same way, except perhaps more successfully, so that would be good. Now Heidi did something unique, and I absolutely love her for it. So she used our Luscious Lace dies. Now I do need to tell you that there are not a ton of these, so if this is something that tweaks your fancy, I would recommend that you get it because there's not a ton of it. So she used the doily piece and die cut vellum. That's right, vellum. In fact, she did 2 layers, and it's going to cut beautifully. And I'm going to lift this up just to show you. Let's see. Okay. So there's 1 layer. Okay, you can see how delicate it is. Just beautiful. And so she did something interesting, is that before attaching this piece, she took the top layer, so she's going to put them one on top of the other, and she put some Velvet Fawn ink with the blending brush over the top of it, and that gives that very soft brown look. And then she held the 2 together and wrapped about 1/4 of it around this piece of paper, glued it down on the back, and then glued this piece down and folded this one on top. Interesting, isn't that fun? And I've not seen that done before, and I always get excited when I see something brand new. I think it's just great. Now this is the white ribbon set, and I think it's very fun to point out. It's got 1 sheet that has the black dots and another one that's got black stitching in the white ribbon set. So she cut a piece and wrapped it over here and then tied a knot in another piece and put it on top, and then attached that to the doily. The hello comes from our Tiny Words and Phrases, which is probably one of the most used ones we have. And you can see the hello right there. She simply placed it. The little accents up here, those are out of the vintage brown set, also from Hunkydory. Several different shades and many different sizes, all in 1 piece. So that is the front of her card. Now, going to the inside, okay, there is a second cutting die. Now, we're not going to suggest that you buy it unless you can use everything. So this one is, it's 6.5 inches long, so it's going to work just fine on this card. She did the same thing using the same materials. So here is her piece of Mary cardstock. Notice it's not quite as wide as the card, and it only goes up, oh, just over half. Again, the measurements are down below. Just click on the card. Then this is the patterned cardstock, and she cut another of the flowers, so you're going to be using 2 of those sheets. And notice that she glued those 2. She's just matted the left-hand side and the bottom, and she's put it right next to the edge of the card. There's another of that same ribbon, but this time tied into a bow. Here are some more of the, I'm not quite sure what that is, of those little pearls. And then Thinking of You is also in the tiny words and phrases. You know, I forgot to mention something. This has been die cut out of the vellum, and it has also been foiled. So I think you can see that, yeah. So that has also been foiled. Again, the foiling is going to be random, perhaps not quite as random as my demonstration, but it won't be solid because that's not really what the look is for. Okay, so very pretty, very distinctive card, and a great use of vellum, I would like to point out. Okay, her second card is this one, and this is going back to our regular 5 by 6.5 inch cards, and this one has the fold at the top. Now, this is the sheet that she's using. Both of these projects are using the Blushing Blossoms 8 by 8. I'm sure you figured that out, as well as the Mary cardstock. So she has taken this sheet, as I'm sure you can tell right there, but again, there is a pattern on the back, and I love the fact that she's using the back of the same sheet that she's also using the front, because it just really shows you what a nice job they did with having a little bit darker of a pattern on the back to really work well with this light on the front. So first of all, she's going to trim this dot down and glue it to her card. You're probably going to use 2 pieces of that patterned 8 by 8, and you can see how this has been trimmed out and then matted, this time on the, I think this is the darkest and brightest of the 4 Mary in the pinks, and that is going to get ready to go on your card. But going back to that white ribbon, she has used, this is a glimmer ribbon, and it is part of, actually, I think it's part of almost all of the collections of ribbon, but in this case, of course, there's a white. So she tucked the ends on the back and attached them there, and then and did them right over the ribbon that's on the paper, and then did a bow. Now, Best Wishes, that is coming from the script greetings in pearls. Now, this has 12 different colors. Obviously, this is silver, and it says Best Wishes, but there's also just all different colors. You can see the gold there. And the hearts, that open heart as well as the solid hearts, are in the same collection. So everything is right there. Now, going into the card, she has yet again used part of this paper and part of the back side of it. So notice how she's got a vertical and a horizontal on the inside of her card. I thought that was really interesting. Both of them have been matted, but she only matted it on 3 sides. For that one, and the same thing on this one. And then she placed them at the edge of the card. So very interesting layout. And again, with love, that's out of the silver and the bow. So this is just really, really fun. So very rectangular card on the front, and then some different things looking very, very nicely on the inside. Okay, now we're going to go into the topper collection. And this card, oops, is our first, and this has 3 layers, so I'm going to remove my Post-its so they are not distracting. So the front is going to open like this, and notice how this one is shorter, and then there's the inside of the card. Okay, now to make this card base, it's really very simple. We're going to start with 2 cards. And I've already folded these. Now, these are 5 by 6.5 inches. So I'm going to open them up. And then in order to make a card that has 3 panels, I'm simply going to glue this one to this one. So just like that. Then I've got my 3 panels. Okay? I'm going to set that aside right now and show it to you with the actual card. So what she did when this was 3 panels, is this one. She measured up from the bottom 2 inches. So that is 2 inches tall, and then trimmed the excess out. Now don't worry about those curved edges because we'll get to that in a minute. So just right now, so from the bottom 2 inches, this one has to be taller because it's going to cover it up. So this is going to be 4 inches tall. 4 inches, 2 inches, trim off the top. Then you can get, oh, and before you do anything else, you're going to want to cover the inside with that Bright Mary and glue or tape that in place, however you want to do that. Then you can start using the corner rounder. So corner rounder is 3-in-1, and you can really see, these are newer ones, and you can really see the sizes of those curves. So that's going to work nicely. And she has used the R10 millimeter. It's the largest rounding. So she rounded those. And she just rounded the edge, the top and bottom edges, not these cut areas, there and there, okay? So you can actually probably do those two together and then do this one maybe separately, okay? So that's going to do that. I'll take my measurements off so they're not distracting. Then she did some fun things here. So this is the sheet, and this is called Rosy Moments. So this is the one that she's going to be using. And for our card front, she has taken the border and just glue, oh no, before she did that, let's put this patterned cardstock on it. Okay, here we go. This is the sheet that she used, and she's going to be using this area, so at least to begin with. So she's going to take this and cover that front and then trim the corners, okay? Then step 2 will be to get the border. Now she's going to use it on the inside too, so you're just going to do a strip of it. And it's about 1/2 inch down, so glue or tape that in place. Then this oval is going to be popped out and foam taped, and then this circle is going to go right here. So you've got straight lines, you've got ovals, you've got circles. It's all working very nicely. And you get a peek into the inside, which is fun too. So things are arranged so that that will work. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. Now remember that she covered the front with this area. Well, she's going to cover this little 2-inch guy the same way. Maybe I'll lay it like that so it's a little easier to see. Same idea. She's going to put the border right there, about 1/2 inch from the top. And this time she is using the single rose and the single oval. So again, circles and ovals together. The ribbon that she has used is out of the magenta and dark pink. So you can see that she's chosen the dot. She did do dazzles, but I'll do that at the very end, okay? So those are the two. Then this one, clever woman. So she went back and went into the sheet and just used this outside piece and glued it here. And notice it's offset, so it's only about 1/2 inch from the right-hand side, and it's a little bit tipped too. So you can do a good job of knowing where that's going to go by closing your card and seeing where this is going to land, and then just make sure that that is separate, that all the pieces can be seen, okay? So that's going to go down first. Then this oval that's in the center is going to go here, and then we have a happy birthday and for someone special, and then just a little flower, and those are all foam taped in place. And again, another bow. And that's how it's done. Now, the pink dazzles, here they are, and I know that's really shiny and bright. She's used the smallest one, so we're going to get in really close so that you can see that. Okay, so you can see right there, there's 3. You can see them into the artwork, and you can see them up here on all of those pieces. So that's where they go. She's just using them as a lovely accent, as you can see. Okay, so that is our 3rd card, just going right along here. Our last card is this one, and I'll turn it right side up and share it with you. This is a 5-inch square card. Now, Hunkydory has packages of 5-inch square cards along with envelopes, or you can take your 5 by 6.5 and just trim them down to be 5 by 5, whichever you like. So what Heidi did is she opened up her card after she made it 5 by 5 and then placed it onto the scoreboard and scored it going in 2.5 inches. That way it is 1/2 of the 5-inch front, okay? Then you're going to fold that. Now this is an easel card, just like so. So because of that, we're going to do some things to work with that score line. So number one, we're going to cover those 2 front pieces. And this is the sheet of Adorable Scoreable that she used. And she's really just using this area now. So she has cut 2 pieces of the same size and then matted them onto the Miri. There you go. And attach them in place. Now notice that they are not going over that score line. It's important to keep that empty and hollow so that it will fold easily. Then going into the sheet. Now remember, this is just one of the 4 different kinds, and you do get 2 of each. So you can see that this is the same, except she turned it like so. Okay, it looks like that on the sheet, but she turned it. Well, not a big thing to do, but it's nice to know that that's an option when you're working with something that's square. And there are 3 layers here. Here's the center, and then a frame, and then another frame. So she used the center and this frame, and she held it as one piece, okay? And she attached it, she foam taped it. So you're foam taping the bottom of this piece to the bottom of your card, only the bottom, because again, that's going to lift up. And then you can see on opposite sides, she has foam taped these 2 little rectangles in place. Lots of love, wishing you a beautiful day. So that could be for lots of reasons. And then on the inside, okay, so remember here, she used this area on the front, just 2 little pieces actually. But on the inside, she's going to use this. Well, once again, the woman has turned it sideways. So I think that's interesting. And she has cut a piece that's smaller than the card, and then she's matted it onto the Miri, which is completely covering the inside of the card. And on this sheet, there's some interesting pieces. And let's see, I guess this is coming from a different sheet because, oh, here's the one flower, and that's foam tape there. Here is the happy anniversary, so that's nice, and it's right here. But this piece is coming from another of the sheets, which is perfectly fine. So the way that she did it is she taped this down and then foam tape these 2. Now you do have to foam tape this so that it will hold your easel upright. So that's the way it's going to look. Lots of love, wishing you a beautiful day, happy anniversary, let your dreams blossom. So a lot of messages on one little card. That works quite nicely. So I think you can see how beautiful this collection is. Again, this is the Blushing Blooms, an 8 by 8, the Blushing Blooms topper set, and the Blushing Blooms Miri. And I love having the Miri to coordinate, and just beautiful. Okay, all of these are put together in a money saver. You know it's going to be on the right-hand side of your screen. And down below, as I said, there are images of the 4 cards. You can click on them and you will see written instructions, and that will just make it super easy for you. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, but please be sure to head on over to paperwishes.com. That's where you're going to find the whole collection, you'll find the instructions, and you'll find the money saver. Now, you can buy the pieces separately, but we put them into a money saver, you know, just as an attempt to save you a little bit of money. That's okay. I want to thank Heidi. She has done a lovely job and given us lots of ideas using this collection and ideas that you can use with other collections too. And I want to thank you most of all for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you again, and actually tomorrow. Bye-bye.